Kim Plath does not exactly fall in the category of likable TV star and is often deemed cold-hearted, manipulative, and controlling. She's completely cut off from her eldest son Ethan and his wife Olivia. Her teenage children, Micah and Moriah, fled the family home in search of some much-needed independence, which further cemented Kim's negative image. And the recent deterioration of her 24-year marriage with Barry has fueled more speculations about her narcissistic and hypocritical behavior because she wants her family to do as she says and not as she does herself. Let's dig deeper into Kim's past and see if her actions are justified. In 2008, Kim suffered the worst imaginable tragedy after losing her 17-month-old son, Joshua, in a tragic accident. The family matriarch accidentally hit her toddler with her car while moving fruit trees on the Plath farm. Joshua's death was ultimately ruled an accident, but Kim struggled with guilt and sank into a deep depression. So bad was her situation, she even struggled to get out of bed in the morning. What made the situation even more painful was the fact that Kim was pregnant at the time. When she should have been happily anticipating a newborn and having the most blissful time, she lost her young son and battled heartbreak and suicidal thoughts. In her darkest days, Barry became her biggest support system and helped her come out of her shell. The TLC star in particular has talked about how her faith also helped her to get through the horrific incident, but many fans of the family show believe that wasn't enough and think that she, along with the rest of her family, should have sought out therapy. It seems Joshua's demise made Kim afraid of losing her other children, which must have forced her to take drastic measures to protect them, which is more or less justified, as they're predominantly based on her own difficult life experiences. In a July episode of Season 4, Kim opened up to her son Micah about being abused as a child after he questioned his upbringing, which involved homeschooling and banning technology and sugar amid an isolated home life. There are several things, but one thing that is kind of big in terms of how it affected me is when I was 4 and 5, my mom, who was a single parent and doing the best she could, hired a babysitter to watch me, and he was a teenage boy, Kim said. And I can just say that when you have little girls, the last thing you want for them is to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and have something happen. Explaining her extremely strict and controlling behavior toward her children, the ultra-conservative reality star added, "That is why I always knew where they were, what they were doing, who they were with, whatever. That played a very large part in me being protective, maybe overprotective, but to me, the risk of not being overprotective enough is so great that I'd rather be on the side of overprotecting than under and have something like that happen." Kim says she sheltered her children to keep them from developing patterns from her own past lifestyle, involving drugs, sex, and alcohol use. Her hatred of alcohol comes from a surprisingly personal place. The Welcome to Plathville alum revealed growing up with alcoholic parents on a small houseboat. Her parents divorced when she was young, and her mother battled alcoholism. The difficulties of growing up in that environment had a huge impact on her. She admittedly didn't make the best choices and was heavily dependent on alcohol during her college days. She found herself partying too much rather than focusing on her studies. Drunk driving and waking up not knowing where she was became a typical occurrence for her. "I could have died so many different ways," she confessed. The 50-year-old said she was influenced by the wrong kind of friends and heavily relied on alcohol as an escape from some of her unresolved emotional trauma. This explains why she wanted her children to have a structured upbringing, in contrast to her chaotic childhood and teenage years. That's it for today. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to make sure you stay up to date with celebrity gossip and the latest showbiz news.